Welcome back to Ferocious Education. This is Ed. Today I'm going to be talking about EVFM as an update. This video is going to include technical analysis, news, and what I think about the stock, as well as the recommendation for myself. At any point of the video, if you feel you're missing on the technical indicators and what they mean, make sure to check in the description below. There is a playlist where it explains each of these technical indicators and what they mean. Make sure to drop a like to this video to help the channel grow, subscribe, and leave your notifications on. Let's jump right into it. So on the 1 month, 1 day perspective, we get to see here on the MACD that it's testing in towards negative reversal. Meanwhile, it still has a couple of days, at least until the end of the week, in order to test that reversal. It's still looking a little bit more dangerous than it did before. A massive red candle today hit in a fashion of buy the rumor, sell the news. So what we get to see here is that on the ADX, we're sitting at 2369, which suggests that there is a strong trend forming here. 20% R is increasingly oversold, and we get to see momentum seems to have dropped for the lowest we've seen for at least I would say all the way back to July. Moving on, we get to see here on the moving averages, 10 SMA is above the 30 EMA. That is bullish. It's still above the 50 SMA, just barely. The 50 SMA is a 309. So that is bullish, but it's way below the 200 SMA, and that is bearish. Now let's try to take a quick look into the 1 hour perspective in order to understand, well, has this one occurred more a drop in early in the day or continued to drop during out? We get to see here on the MACD, it doesn't show much of a recovery. I mean, in the extended hours, it does show that it's kind of almost bottomed out, but yet still to be determined here. Now the 10 SMA has crossed the 30 EMA, so all the moving averages are right now bearish. 50 SMA above the stock price is below the 200 SMA, 30 EMA is above the 10 SMA, and the stock price is below the VWAP. On the ADX, it supports in a possibility of a very strong negative trend. On 1,000,000% R, it's oversold, and momentum is dropped significantly. A massive sell-off of around $2.4 million, 2.4 million in volume has occurred in the last hour. So what's going on, right? I'm gonna address that in a second. Moving on towards the unbalanced volume, we get to see the stock is expected to be traded between 286, 318 in the middle, and on the top 353. And going on towards the chart, I'm gonna cover Fibonacci retracements, supports, and resistances, and try to determine what is the bottom that it might actually reach. So 369 is a significant resistance, support on Fibonacci retracement is 270. Let's jump into supports and resistances here. There we go. We're going to use a price line action for this. Current significant support, I mean, we're sitting at almost 309, so 309 right here. And then right below that is 306. Right below that, we're looking at 304. And then right below that, we're looking at 297. Right below that, we have 291. Significant resistances here, and that's the one we're a little bit more interested in, is 313. That is a significant resistance. And then 318. And then we're looking at 320, 323, and then finally 325. Of course, there is a bit more above that, but let's try to look at least towards the more significant ones. Now, going on towards trends, and this one is a significant one, we get to see it was still on an uptrend recently. And we're going to be addressing here whether it has broken that kind of uptrend or not. So by taking in the supports and try to determine previous supports, it does look like it has not yet broken that positive trend. It is in fact just above the trend line that is formed. Now, in order for it to break that trend line, we're looking at it for it to break the 308 zone, which is a strong support, as you get to see here. Once it does, then that trend is broken. So the expectation is that it stays above that trend, and I'll basically mention how you can tell during the day if it has broken below the trend. But first, let's get into news. So latest news, investors, nothing new in terms of institutional buyers. Moving on, this one was the Evofem Biosciences announces US commercial launch of Phexxi. If you watch my previous DD in the description, you will find a lot about this product, and I did mention and talk throughout with it. And so basically, as the launch comes in, there's this phenomenon that's called buy the rumor, sell the news. sell-off comes in towards the news, right? And usually it's expected that when that happens is because shareholders don't realize the next coming of catalysts. But it happened anyway, even with upcoming catalysts. So let's take a quick look in terms of catalysts, right? The next one coming in is, well, there's one on Tuesday, September 8th to Friday, September 11th, which is the investor presentation. And this one is coming in quite recently, and I believe it just came out today. So there is a lot of news coming out on there. So let's jump right into that one. And checking towards the presentation here, we get to see that nothing has been significantly changed from the last one, which I covered before. So one of the recent ones is the EVO 100 milestone about initiating a pivotal phase 3 trial result. Now, what are other current catalysts coming up? September 14th, we do have a presentation from 3:30 to 3:50 p.m. or 4:30. This is after market on Wednesday the 16th. So this is coming in next week. They have a busy week. They have Monday, Wednesday, and Friday all week catalysts coming in terms of conferences, and an additional one on September 22nd. So that is kind of exciting. And let me tell you what I think about this stock here, just because it's quite baffling. But before doing so, don't forget that Amy Raskoff, the head of IR for EVFM, is on Twitter as well, and she usually retweets almost any kind of different catalysts coming up for this company itself. Now, what is exciting about the stock? What I think is going to be moving next. So the biggest thing for me here is that I want to see how the stock holds. And a product launch like this one that has enormous amount of profit expected, it really came in from around 368 all the way to 311, and you're talking about a significant improve in the actual company's performance, and we are really close to 52-week low. I believe we are something like 15% from the 52-week low. So that is quite significant. So it really shows in there's a lot of an upper side to this one or not, than lower one. In my opinion, what happened here is more of a panic sell, and I do see a little bit of a strong or slow recovery moving on in the future. So definitely right now, I would say my only concern, and this should be just my only one, is that the MACD has gone quite negative. If it does cross towards the negative side, see before it did test it and then kind of fix itself, but if it does break through that kind of trend line and drop below, I would say the $3 mark, that's where I'll put my stop limit. But below the $3 mark, I would consider it a buy for me. Closer towards the 309, it's a hold for me. And why am I saying this is that they are progressive. There's a new product launch. It's more of a game changer in that kind of field where there's not a lot of innovation that has happened recently. I would consider that it has a future, and that's why I would give it that recommendation. What do you think about this ticker? Make sure you mention down in the comments below. Share, subscribe, and like. You have a wonderful day.